Let's get some more great analysis from our panel this afternoon. Dave Levine, the chair of Democrats abroad in Australia, and Tom Switzer from the US Studies Centre. Dave Levine, I would imagine as a strong Democrat, you might have been throwing stuff at the TV watching the debate yesterday. Were you frustrated at Barack Obama's performance?
I was surprised, actually. I expected a stronger performance out of him. I think if you read a transcript of the debate, you don't get the sense as much that he lost it in the way that so many people polled have said that he's lost it. If you read the transcript, you see all the arguments that he was making were quite clear. But just in terms of the delivery, I do think that Romney came out on top this time. And that's okay. There are two more chances for Obama to show the American people and remind them of why they elected him president so resoundingly in the last election. I'm also less worried than perhaps some of the analysts have put forth over the last 24 hours. I look at the electoral math, and I'm fairly confident, although by no means is this race over, looking at 22 states where Obama is polling almost 5 points ahead of Romney, and those 22 states alone add up to 275 electoral votes. So looking at the math, I'm feeling better. I still think he's okay.
Let me ask you this. What do you put this performance from the president down to? I mean, is it that he's not match fit when it comes to debates? You're elected president, and then you spend 4 years not really engaging face-to-face with your opponents.
I think there are a number of levels of points where Obama, first of all, he hasn't been in the ring. So Romney's been in the ring, in the primary ring for the elections over the last few years, and Romney's been running for the last 4 years, and so certainly there's just a lack of practice. He hasn't been up against another opponent for a really long time. That's a major component to why he didn't perform as well as I think some of us expected him to.
Tom Switzer, what did you make of this debate? Were you surprised by either men, both men?
Well, I think, first of all, I agree with Dave that Barack Obama lacks match fitness. That's a given. But I would say that her point that the transcript reads okay for Obama, but he doesn't look so good on television, that reminds me a lot of the Republican consensus in 1960 when the Republicans consoled themselves by saying that Richard Nixon sounded good on radio, but he looked terrible with his 5 o'clock shadow on television. Look, television counts. And Obama looked terrible. He looked disinterested, almost contemptuous. Whereas Romney, let's remember, he went into this race with very low expectations. And anyone who's followed political history in America or indeed in Australia knows that low expectations are a priceless political asset.
But on the substance of what Governor Romney was saying, he did seem to walk away from the positions that he's been arguing about tax cuts and the like.
No, I disagree profoundly. The Wall Street Journal, both yesterday and today, although it is a conservative editorial page, made it quite clear that there are about 5 think tanks versus one think tank that actually backs Mitt Romney's plan. That indeed he can have across-the-board tax cuts down to 20% while the economy remains in deficit neutral, debt neutral. And the point is he would cut a lot of tax loopholes for the rich. Barack Obama, in many respects, was lying about that, and he got caught out. He believed the illusions of his campaign, and for once he was actually held to account on that, and it showed.
Let me ask you both, finally, the impact of this debate. There are 2 more to go between the two men. Tom Switzer, first to you. What do you think it's going to do to the campaign?
I think there's a danger in overstating the significance of just one debate. History shows that they don't change elections dramatically. But nevertheless, this has breathed new life into the Republican campaign, as Dave pointed out. The Republicans have been on the back foot in those key battleground states. This may give them a leg up going into the last 4 weeks.
Dave, you did say earlier you still think Barack Obama is going to win this, but does it shift momentum at least for a week or so?
Well, I think that we'll have to see. About a week from now, we'll see whether or not it gave a bump to Romney. I would expect that bump might be somewhere around 1 percentage point nationwide. I don't think that it's completely insignificant, and I'm not saying that there is complete irrelevance to this debate. On the other hand, we have not seen in any recent history an impact from a debate actually deciding the elections. If we think about who the independent voters are, who the swing voters are, they are people who have not been bought by sound bites. They are not hardened to either political party. They're waiting for some actual persuasion. Romney didn't give them any details in this plan, so I think they're still waiting.
Well, we'll see what the impact turns out to be as more polls come through in the coming days. The vice presidential debate next week will be certainly, as John King was saying earlier, perhaps the more entertaining of these debates that we're going to get over the coming weeks. Sadly, we are out of time. I had to cut things short a bit after that speech from Margie Abbott. But Dave Levine and Tom Switzer, great to talk to both of you. Thank you for your analysis this afternoon.